All right, we are learning a little bit more about these joint attacks conducted by the United States and Great Britain on Houthi rebel sites in Yemen. With us right now, Major General Patrick Ryder, of course, the Pentagon Press Secretary. Secretary General, very good to have you. What can you tell us about how involved these were? It seems a little bit more involved than we earlier thought.
Yeah, thanks very much for having me, Neil. So what we had last night were multinational strikes conducted by the United States and the United Kingdom with support from Australia, Bahrain, Canada, and the Netherlands. And these strikes were very specific to target capabilities that the Houthis have been using to conduct attacks against international shipping and mariners in the Red Sea. So far, our initial assessments are that we had good effects, but we'll continue to assess going forward. Again, the goal here is to disrupt and degrade their ability to conduct these kinds of attacks going ahead in the future.
Now, I understand maybe from your briefing earlier, sir, that the U.S. has at this point destroyed or degraded more than 25 missile facilities since January 11th. They've had follow-up attacks, so the fear is they've got other means or areas from which they can attack us. I know that's sort of like a pinprick strategy. You can't, get to all pin sites. But what do you say about their ability to attack, U.S. element shipping interests in the Red Sea now? How much has that been degraded?
Yeah, so as you highlight, since January 11, we assess that we have successfully destroyed or degraded over 20 missiles and 25 missile launch and deployment facilities, as well as a variety of other capabilities to include coastal radars, unmanned aerial vehicles, aerial surveillance, and weapons storage areas. So all of that combines to degrade and disrupt their ability to conduct these kinds of attacks going forward. Now, we do know that the Houthis maintain capabilities, additional capabilities, and would not be surprised if we see other attacks in the future. But what we're doing here is putting a cost on those attacks and essentially making it very clear that there will be consequences. So going forward, we'll continue to work with the international community to, again, put this pressure on the Houthis with the ultimate goal being that the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden are safe and secure for international shipping.
Secretary, today was our first chance to see Lloyd Austin. He delivered virtual remarks in his first public appearance since his hospitalization. Many have been scrutinized that and wonder what is his health status? Is he permanently out of the hospital? What can you tell us?
Yeah, so thanks very much for asking. Well, the Secretary is recovering well. He continues to work from home and perform his duties from there as he recuperates, conducting physical therapy, post-hospital. And so we, of course, wish him a speedy recovery and a return to the Pentagon as soon as he can. But as you highlight, today was the 18th Ukraine Defense Contact Group, which brought together more than 50 nations to focus on what we need to do to continue helping Ukraine defend themselves against Russia's illegal and unprovoked aggression.
Secretary, his looks notwithstanding, and someone concerned that he looked still under the weather. It would be an understatement of someone who's been in the hospital as long as he has. But that he is still, according to you, conducting these operations, not only addressing the Ukraine matter you just alluded to, but these follow-up attacks, joint or otherwise, on Houthi rebels.
Yeah, Secretary Austin, of course, resumed his full duties January 5th and has been conducting and actively engaged in departmental operations, leading the department, and as evidenced by last night, continues to stay very actively engaged in implementing the national security policies of our nation.
So I'm sorry if I'm slow on the take, sir. Is he back at his Defense Department offices, or is he doing this from home?
Yeah, again, as I mentioned just a minute ago there, he's continuing to perform his duties from home, and we look forward to him returning to the Pentagon as soon as possible.
Has there been any discussion of his stepping down?
No. Right now, again, he maintains his focus on carrying out his duties as Secretary of Defense and ensuring that our nation remains safe.
And the president still has full confidence in him, and on these follow-up strikes and all, still confidence in the secretary leading those strikes, commanding those strikes?
Yeah, thanks, Neil. Well, I'm not going to speak for the president, but I think you've heard him and the White House communicate the president's confidence in Secretary Austin. Again, There are lots of things happening in the world right now, as you've seen. And Secretary Austin remains squarely focused on executing his duties as the Secretary of Defense and protecting our nation.
All right. Then finally, sir, on the Houthi rebels and their resilience to a lot of attacks, not all, they are degraded with each and every attack, but not to the point where they're unable to attack. And that's led many of these shipping lines and oil tanker parent companies who've been with me on my business show to say pretty much to a man and company, sir, they don't want to risk going back in that area for fear of this happening again. Even if there's a task force accompanying them, they just don't feel safe. What do you tell them?
Well, certainly that is a decision that each company needs to decide on its own. But what you saw here, again, was the Houthis began to conduct these attacks back in mid-November. Right. And despite multiple warnings from many nations, and despite the fact that you had 14 nations plus the United States issue a statement in early January warning of consequences, they've made the decision to continue conducting these attacks. And so there is a cost to that. And again, our goal here is to ensure that those mariners, that those companies are able to transit this international waterway safely and that the impacts on the global economy are removed. And so, again, we'll continue to stay focused on conducting that mission, deterring those attacks should we need to. But one would certainly hope that the Houthis stop now.
General, thank you very much. Major General Patrick Ryder, the Pentagon Press Secretary. Secretary, thank you again.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.